Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Reset Rise Midlife, where we don't just talk about change, we embody it. I'm your host, Coach Sabrina Woods, and today I want to speak directly to the part of you that has been trying so hard to make a relationship work. Maybe it's your partner, your child, a parent, a friend. You're feeling drained, discouraged, and maybe even misunderstood. Episode 20 today is all about relationship. If you want to fix it, it starts with you. It's raw, it's real, and it might even rattle you a bit, but that's because it's truth. And truth isn't always comfortable, but it's necessary if you want to heal and build something stronger. I'm going to start by being fully transparent. I used to live in blame. I thought if my partner just communicated better, we stop arguing. If my family or my brothers respected my boundaries, I'd feel safe. If my friend just showed up for me like I did for her, I wouldn't feel hurt. Can you relate? You see, we think if they would just change. But here's the truth that hit me like a truck one day during a breakdown in my marriage. You cannot build a healthy relationship on the foundation of someone else's change. That's a structure built on sand. It will crumble every time. So I started asking a different question. What's my part in this? What energy am I bringing into the room? What have I normalized that's actually hurting me or them? And let me tell you, it was humbling. Those questions cracked open everything because I realized that I had to do work on myself. But I had to start with the power of emotional intelligence. You see, in real life, we need it because it's where our true transformation begins. When we talk about EQ, emotional intelligence, we're not just talking about managing emotions. We're talking about relationship survival skills. Let me share a story with you. A client of mine, we'll call her Lisa, came to me overwhelmed, angry, in disbelief. Her teenage son had stopped talking to her. Her husband barely looked up from his phone when they were in the same room. She felt invisible, like no one cared. She was angry, rightfully so. But as we worked together, we uncovered something deeper. Lisa was so emotionally overwhelmed that she did not know how to communicate without exploding or shutting down. Her home was full of unspoken tension. Her needs were valid, but her expression of them was defensive, reactive, and sometimes even hurtful. So when we worked on her EQ, like self-awareness, she learned to recognize when she was triggered, especially by silence. We worked on self-regulation. Instead of reacting, she started pausing, breathing, and walking away to channel that energy into things like journaling, meditation, taking a walk, listening to music. And we also had to look at how empathetic she was to those around her. You see, empathy is everything. So she began to ask herself, what is my son feeling right now? She asked him what he was feeling right now, rather than assuming, or mind reading. And we also had to work on her communication. She practiced expressing her needs without blaming, using I feel statements instead of you never. The result? Her tone of her home changed. Her son started talking to her again. Her husband noticed and mirrored her emotional maturity. It wasn't magic. It was EQ. You see, you don't have to change the relationship by forcing others to be better. You lead by examples, and others feel safe enough to rise with you. But boundaries is a big one. This one deserves a full stop because so many people still believe that boundaries are rude, selfish, or cold. But let me tell you something. A boundary is not a wall to keep others out. It's a bridge built on clarity, trust, and safety. I remember coaching a woman named Maria who spent her life being the peacekeeper. She said yes to everything, watched everyone's kids, took phone calls at 2 a.m., helped her ex even when he was disrespectful because she didn't want to be mean. But behind that smile, she had resentment, exhaustion, silent suffering. She had never learned to say, no, that doesn't work for me, or I need space right now, or even that comment hurt me. When she finally did, her world shifted. Not everyone clapped for her, but she felt free. Her relationships got healthier. Some fell away, but the ones who stayed were rooted in truth, not obligation. If you feel guilty for setting a boundary, remember, that's just old programming to try to keep you stuck. You know, we can't not talk about self-care. Self-care isn't just baths and candles, getting our nails done, our hair done. So let's redefine it. Self-care is spiritual, emotional, physical, mental. It's not always pretty. And it's definitely not always Instagram worthy. Sometimes self-care is unfollowing someone who drains you, who brings negative energy, who makes you feel like you're in competition with them. They never celebrate you, but you see them all over everyone else's post. Sometimes self-care is leaving a conversation that you no longer have energy for. You're not available for that. And it's also saying no and sitting with the discomfort of disappointing others. It's also turning off your phone and sitting in silence with yourself. You see, it's telling your inner child, you're safe now. I got you. You cannot pour into a relationship from empty, anxious, or resentful space. When you take care of yourself, you raise the standards for how others will treat you and how you treat them. Self-care is what makes you emotionally available for intimacy, connection, and peace. Now let's circle back to this truth. You go first. Not because it's fair, not because others deserve it, but because you want the relationship to change. You have to be willing to lead the change. Here's the deal. Healing is not about perfection. It's about taking responsibility for your wounds and how they show up in the world. Let me share a personal example. When my husband and I were struggling early in our relationship, I kept thinking, if he would just do things differently, I'd feel better. But that thinking robbed me of my power. So I turned inward. I looked at my tone, my expectations, my trauma responses, my silent treatments, and my need to control. Was it all my fault? No. But I had to own my part, and I could not keep going to him in a way that blamed him. Instead, I needed to go to him in a way that offered us to find a solution together. When I started doing that, he felt safer. He softened, and we connected more deeply than ever before. We began growing together, not out of obligation, but out of love. So I every episode I either give us some exercises, journaling prompts. So get your pen, get your paper, get your note app, whatever you need to write on. I will also leave these in the overview section of the podcast. First journaling prompt. Remember, take time to sit with these and honor your truths. Number 1, what is the pattern that I keep repeating in my relationship? And what beliefs is underneath it? 2, where do I feel powerless? And what part might be about me giving my power away? Number 3, how do I typically handle conflict? And what EQ skills can I practice to respond better? You see, an emotional mistake teaches us. If we learn to start asking ourselves questions, we understand how to proceed in the future in a way that aligns with how we truly feel. But let's close this today with some affirmations, incantations, and I want you to say them out loud or write them in your journal. Feel them in your body. Ladies, I cannot express enough that the language we use with ourselves, we believe. If we continue to blame our spouse, blame our child, blame our parents, we will never heal. We have to let go of the blame, the remorse. Look at us and figure out how we need to be better. First affirmation. I release the need to change others. I take responsibility for my energy, my words, and my actions. I choose growth over blame. I am worthy of healthy, reciprocal, emotional, safe relationships. I lead with love and I honor my boundaries. And lastly, I grow, I heal, and I rise. You don't have to be perfect to have a beautiful relationship, but you do have to be willing to do the work on you. Start with honesty. Start with awareness. Start with one small change. If this episode spoke to you, share it, replay it, and reflect on it. And if you're ready to go deeper into this kind of healing work, I invite you to join me inside of my Passion and Purpose Midlife Coaching Program. This is where we rebuild the relationship with self first, so we can finally show up whole, present, and powerful in every connection. You can find the link to the show in the notes section. And until then, take care of your heart. Speak truth with love. And remember, when you change you, everything changes. Until next time, reset, rise, repeat.